So, manga being banned is nothing new. This is something that has happened for years. And they'll ban them for whatever reasons, whether it be too violent, too sexual, whatever. But never before have I personally seen manga try to be banned for a reason as stupid as this.
I'm not going to be voting to keep this one there, and I'm just going to tell you why. Again, I've read every one of these books alongside this book committee. This book it focuses on nothing other than a relationship. It's inappropriate. You start the book, you read it backwards, you read it. I mean, it literally, when you start reading a book, which we've been teaching our kids from day one, you start at the beginning and you read from left to right, bottom to top. Not that book, you don't. And so it's just, to me, I'm going, no, this is not the highest and best book that we can offer our kids. And this is volume 1, so I'm not sure where this goes because the entire book is focused on a romantic relationship. So I'm like, if this is volume 1, where does the next one go? So that's the reason why I won't be supporting the committee's recommendation of keeping it. So just letting you know.
So in Brevard Public School District in Florida, no surprise there, they tried to ban a manga recently. The manga in question was Sasaki, I hope I'm saying that right, and Miyao. Hard name for me to pronounce. But anyway, it's a boy love manga. I've heard of it before. There's an anime about it. And from everything I've seen, everybody's like, yeah, it's a relationship, but it's no worse than any of the other ones that would pop up. But that's not necessarily, I'll put a pin in that because I think there's more to it. But their reasoning for wanting it banned is absolutely just stupid. Now, ignoring the fact that the lady said that we're going to read from bottom to top, she said that it's a problem that we're teaching our kids to read from a different direction. Well, how hard is it to figure that out? I mean, you just read it backwards. Is that gonna oh no, we're teaching our kids that some books read in a different direction. Once they learn it one time, they're never gonna be able to figure it out. All of them are just gonna open up the newest Hunger Games and they're gonna start reading it from the back. And they'll just read it in reverse. How stupid do you think kids are? I am guaranteeing you, and I don't have that original manga to show you to say if it's there. I guarantee you that if it didn't have one of these pages in the back of the book, that lady probably read, and I highly, highly, highly doubt she read this entire volume. It is not a big volume. I have seen it in stores before. It's not. It's thinner than this, and I guarantee you she did not read that whole thing. But if she tried to read it in the first place, which she says she did, I guarantee you if it didn't have one of these pages, she read about 2 or 3 pages and thought she was reading it wrong or didn't understand it and was not going to comment on that. And she probably was frustrated until she realized, wait a second, I'm supposed to read it from up here first. And then she probably was frustrated and just decided, I don't like this. My kids shouldn't like it either, because if I can't understand it, well, then obviously my kids aren't going to understand it because I'm smarter than them. I'm big. I can do stuff. They can't.
Since we're discussing, I'm not going to defend this book because I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of stupid personally. I don't think there's a problem with it being backwards because it's Japanese and it was a literal translation. Took the Japanese book and inserted the English text. So, but I can agree with the recommendation of the committee because it doesn't violate statute. And I was looking for it, but it didn't. So, like I said, not necessarily one that I'm super excited about keeping, but if we're gonna, I've tried to stick with that, what the law says, and I think that's where I don't think this one is violating the statute for us.
And thank God that this lady that is sitting beside her is able to tell her and to bring the room down to say this is part of Japanese culture. They read it differently, but that's okay because it's a different country. Not everything is based off the South in America. because if we were, we'd all read To Kill a Mockingbird, but I guarantee you she hasn't even read that, and she probably has not read much at all, but that's just my opinion. But the problem is that we are banning books, or attempting to in this case, because thankfully that lady said, no, this is part of it, we shouldn't ban it. Because we are banning books just because we simply don't understand how to read them. This is people in power that are banning books from schools, not letting the children discover them, not letting children make their own opinions on things. We are telling them, you cannot read this. And for the simple fact of we don't agree with them or we don't understand them, so the kids won't either. I like how, though, as much as I want to compliment the second lady for saying, you should not judge it because of how that is, I also have to say that she then commented that she still thinks it's not a very good book and that they should get rid of it if they could, because she just didn't like it. I did not personally really like Romeo and Juliet. I had to read that in school. Wasn't a big fan of it. I like other Shakespeare stuff, but I didn't really like Romeo and Juliet. I know it's so, it's this massively popular series, but I just didn't really like it. I thought it was generic. Maybe it's because I've heard it so many times, but whenever I actually had to read the book, I wasn't that big of a fan of it. Does that mean that I want Romeo and Juliet banned? No. That's stupid. Because just because I dislike something doesn't mean others won't like that as well. It's just a difference of opinion. It's the whole basis of literature is that I might get something out of this, but then someone else would get something out of this. I did that in reverse because I don't like this, but I like this. And that's definitely the opposite for most people. We, as a society, have got to put this away. This is a problem that keeps arising, not just in manga, but in just books in general and in people in power, especially in America, to be honest, trying to put their own opinions in the way of what should and should not be in schools. Let kids figure this out on their own. Kids are smart. Kids can read this and decide, yes, Ruka is best girl. They don't need someone to explain that to them. They don't need someone to explain to them that we have to read it in a different direction. It's not that hard. So anyway, this was just something that I saw it and I could not believe my eyes on how stupid this was. Not because, and I'll be honest, if we're being honest, if we knew this lady's intentions, her mindset, and what she truly was thinking, I'd argue there's another reason as to why she wanted this book banned and not why the reason she stated. Now, I am not saying that this is the truth. This is just my opinion. I don't know this woman, and maybe this is not the case. So this is not me, saying it. This is just my opinion. It is not the truth. I would be willing to, speculate that there is a possibility that this book was being considered to be banned because it's a boys love manga. Is that it is a book that deals with LGBTQ representation. They don't really like that, and they see that it's reading backwards, and they don't like that either. It's 2024. Get over it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Get over it. It's a part of culture. You're just going to have to accept it. I'm sorry that there might be a cover of a book that you don't know how to read in the kids' library that's got two guys on the front of it. It's not going to hurt you. In fact, you might enjoy the series if you actually knew how to read it. But anyway, So what do you think? Do you think this was stupid? Do you think it should have been banned? And if you do, I don't know what's wrong with you. But, maybe you do. And maybe you have a good reason for it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.